here's Brody Brazil.
You know, one thing I've realized through the comment section in the last several weeks and months is that there's a lot of you out there here on this YouTube channel that are seeking just a little bit more behind the scenes access of how I make all these videos. You want a little bit more of a glimpse here behind the scenes of the home studio. And so coincidentally, and kind of selfishly, I've been considering doing this video, my favorite parts of this home studio. And I've got to be honest with you, this home studio is a special place to me because I set it all up. It gets to be at my house. This is the place where when I want to come in and work, I do work. I bring up the topics I want to talk about. I get to use the equipment I want to use. I custom made this, well, for myself. And if I get to use the term, I'm going to use it right here, right now. This is a bespoke home studio. And I'm definitely not the first person to have a home studio, but I was way ahead of this in 2020. In fact, this whole place was set up and pretty much ready to go when the world shut down. So I'm not like the first to have a home studio, but I do think of myself as a pioneer in this approach and in this space of having a home studio. Anyway, the point is, I love this place, I love this space, and I want to share a bunch of reasons why. I'm going to first start with a couple things you may not know, but I'm also here to tell you that this video is definitely going to include some telestration because I've got it out here, and that's actually one of the reasons I do love this space, is I keep adding a bunch of bells and whistles and toys as we go. Yes, number one, this is at my house, which I know a lot of people ask and don't realize, and they see the fancy colors in the background, and maybe the lighting is right, and the camera with the blurry background, and they think, all right, well, this has to be at a studio somewhere. No, I'm at home right now. I could go jump and be in my bed within 30 seconds, walk out here, couple twists and turns, and be in the bedroom at our house. So this is at my home. This is obviously a luxury to me that when I want to do work, I come in this room, I shut the door, I turn everything on, and I just go. This was all also put together by me, which is something I don't think a lot of other people realize. Like, I'm a production person by trade. Yeah, I'm in front of the camera. Yeah, I'm on your screen. Yeah, I've been talking to you for longer than I can remember, 20 plus years of broadcasting, but the actual technical side of editing and production, the camera work, audio, microphones, acoustically treating a space like I have, more on that in a second. I did all this, and I'm not saying that I'm not doing this right now. I'm just saying most people don't realize it. They think that two things: this studio space is somewhere else, and they also think that somebody else did it for me, when in fact, I pretty much set all this up. So if there's things you like, cool, I'll take credit for that. If there's things you don't like, that's also my fault. This is a space that has evolved since 2018. Again, I was doing this well before 2020. This room used to be for kids. It had bunk beds. The prior owners had built it up quite nice. It was wired quite well for all the, cable and Ethernet situations I would need. So that was nice. It's got a lot of power outlets. I mean, this is the perfect home studio space, but I didn't really start using it until late 17, early 18, ripped everything out. But it's been a slow build. It never initially started off looking like this. It was a lot more primitive. It was a lot more like the background colors and all this wasn't here. By the way, all this is what I used to use for audio processing. Now it's just there for looks. I didn't add this screen until the last month or two. It used to be just a picture frame up there. So you can see over time, the only true things that have been with me, maybe from the start, is that wood wall in the background and this kind of colored, multicolor wall behind me. Even the tree wasn't here. The fake tree wasn't here in the very first videos on the channel, which, by the way, the fake tree has been with me almost 25 years. This was an accessory that I put in my first college apartment. I think that was 2001 at San Jose State. It has been in an attic for a while. It was in a storage space for a while. I think it was in the prior place that my wife and I lived. And then when we moved here to our home, I don't know, about 10 years ago, I think it was up in the attic for a bit, and then it got to come down and live its new life here in the home studio. So long story, I know I've shared that before, but some people think that's okay. Some people love it. I don't know if anybody loves it, but some people hate it, and it's staying there. I apologize that it's going to stay there for a while. I did get to do the entire 2020 Major League Baseball season pre- and post-game shows for the Oakland A's in this studio space. I loved it. The technology was great. They set me up with something called a Dejero. It uses the internet to transmit full HD video back to the studio. I would have had better shows if we were in person, if me and Dave Stewart were together, Shooty Babbitt, Bib Roberts. It just would have worked out better if we were face-to-face, but it was 2020. We couldn't be. It was the first time that I came in here every day and loved this space, and I loved having this as an option for myself. That's kind of when the value of this space truly came to be. And the last thing I'll mention here is that this space is always ready, in a sense that I come in here, I push a couple different buttons on the Stream Deck, all the lights come on, the cameras come on, the computers stay on, it's ready to go. I mean, within 30 seconds, I can walk in the door, plug in the hard drive, hit record, and start going on a video. So there's no setup, there's no teardown, none of that. It's just always ready to go. By the way, I keep using this camera and checking to see that, yeah, I am wearing shorts. I just didn't want to make you have to see too much leg there, so I just keep adjusting my shorts. See, that's the benefit of the home studio. You would have no clue right now that I'm wearing shorts below the camera. All right, anyway, so I've mentioned those things, but I haven't really talked about my favorite parts. I got to custom build this studio. I got to choose the exact microphone I wanted to use in this studio. This is the Neumann U87 AI. Couple things. It's the third different microphone I've had in here. I used to have the Shure SM7B. You've seen that one everywhere. It's a popular podcast mic. Then I evolved into the Neumann TLM103, and now I'm on the U87 AI. This microphone, by the way, is, I think, 75 years old. The U87 is. This is the AI version, but I have to be very clear. There's no artificial intelligence with this mic. This mic was called the AI probably like 15, 20 years ago. I think in 1999, the U87 AI version came out. It's just AI. It doesn't stand for artificial intelligence, to be very clear. This microphone is, how should I say, an end-game microphone. It's kind of the last one you'll ever buy. The price point indicates that. I'm embarrassed to say what it costs, but I'm also proud to say that I've used it now for about 5 years. I'm not going to change for the next 50 years. I will always want to use this microphone in my home studio. I take care of it. I love it. I process it well in terms of the processing I put on it so it sounds good. This is overkill for the home studio, but again, I got to choose this mic. It's also set up with compression so I can kind of get away from the mic a little bit. I can talk quieter and it's fine. I can also yell a little bit and the volume doesn't really change. I've got the settings here, for me at least, I feel pretty dialed in. And the microphone is a huge part of that. The evolution of microphones has been part of that. But again, coming in here and knowing how this is going to sound and look every single time, and hopefully top notch, is something that comes by design. I love this microphone. I also love the Stream Decks that I'm using. Now, on this desk, there's an XL over here. There's a Stream Deck Mini, you can see right here. There's also a standard Stream Deck Mark II. This one is for the TELESTRATOR only. And then what you can't see is right now below the desk, you're like, how am I changing? Watch this. See my hands? How am I changing the cameras from that to this to this? I'm not changing anything, but I'm doing that in real time right now because see this foot pedal? That's what I have below my desk. By the way, that's a stock footage. That's not my shoe, although those are cool shoes. I stole that stock photo. There's 3 buttons. You can see, and actually I've got the TELESTRATOR here. I can just draw it for you. So what you've got is one button on the right side. This is a middle button, and this is also a button. So there's 3 buttons. And right now, like for example, if I hit the left button, it's going to do this shot. If I hit the middle button, it's going to do this shot. And I don't want to hit the right button because it's going to advance to the next slide here on my keynote presentation. So complete control. And I should do a separate video on what exactly is on my Stream Deck XL screen, which I also realize you can't see because the TELESTRATOR's in the way. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 1, 2, 3, 32 buttons on this XL. There's 6 buttons on that one. There's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 buttons on this one, plus 3. Anyway, there's a lot of buttons. They're all customizable. And so when I change shots, I can have it do pretty much anything I want to do. I've also got a ton of different sources on here. If you see this shot, you can also see that monitor right here. This is the multi-view. These are all the different sources I'm looking at, things I can do. All of that is accessible. These cameras and inputs are all accessible through the Stream Deck. So I hit one button and my switcher does a multitude of things. It just makes it so much easier for one person to do all this simultaneously while I make videos. I love the Stream Decks. I'm so happy I found that system and that ecosystem. They're made by Elgato, highly recommended for live streaming. And I know this one sounds simple. You're like, how much can a mouse actually matter? I'm grabbing the actual mouse over here. This is the Logitech MX Master 3. I think there's even a newer version of it. But this mouse is ergonomic, and it's got buttons built in pretty much everywhere. Here we go again with the TELESTRATOR. Oh, that was the old drawing. You've got a button here. You've got a button there. You've got one scroll wheel to the left. You've got this one right here, which adjusts the wheel in terms of does it click when it scrolls or does it scroll like smoothly? You've got a left button, a right button. There's so much going on with this mouse, but the ergonomics of it. And I've used a bunch of mice over the years. Even something as simple as this. I can't really ever use another mouse. And once I found this one, I was like, this is the one I need to have here in the home studio. So I'm going to stop myself right there. I could go on and on. But the mouse is important to me. The keyboard for this space, also very important to me. Now, I don't want to hit any of these buttons because it's going to mess up the actual presentation. But this is the KEYCHRON K2. I want to say this is the... Is it version anything? I don't know. I think this might be an original version 1. They might make a version 2 or a Mark 2 of this by this point. But love this keyboard. I can't type on it right now and make all the clicky sounds. But it's a mechanical keyboard. So when I type, it goes click, 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 click. It sounds like a 1987 Apple II GS. I love that. Or actually, more like a Commodore, actually. I love the way that this keyboard sounds. I like the ergonomics of it. Super small. It fits this space quite well. So even things like this. I got into mechanical keyboards. This one specifically. I also have one in the other office where I do all the editing. It's a little bit more of a low profile one, but it's also made by KEYCHRON. Love that brand. Love having this keyboard here in the home studio. Okay, this is the backbone of the entire home studio. This is the Blackmagic design ATEM Mini Extreme ISO, and you can see it here right in front of me. So what we've got going on here, like there's a lot going on. So let me bring back the old TELESTRATOR here. So this is my audio mixer, right? So everything kind of goes through there, including a headphone mix and what goes out to the ATEM. This is for processing only. This is the Universal Audio Apollo Twin X. I probably could have put that on this list too. I just decided not to. That does all the audio processing. There's one Stream Deck. There's another Stream Deck. Here's my TELESTRATOR that I'm on right now. Here's another Stream Deck over there. But this right here, and I'll do this in yellow, that right there is the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. And what that's doing is when I'm pushing these buttons on the Stream Deck, the ATEM is the switcher. It's the video switcher. It records the audio with the video simultaneously. It's recording all of this to a hard drive that's plugged in. I just take this hard drive out, or I can use it across my home network, bring in the files to editing, start editing, done. Or if I want to live stream, I mean, literally right now, if I want to start a live stream on my YouTube page, I could push one button, which is kind of dangerous because sometimes I almost accidentally push that button and do a live stream instead of hit record. Anyway, long story short, the ATEM Mini version, and I used to have, this is an 8 input switcher. You can see here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus there's Super Source, a bunch of other things you can do. The prior version I had was only a 4 input switcher. I had that from maybe 2020, late 2020 to about 2024. So that one lasted 4 years. I still have it. I still use it. Actually, I have 2 of those, but then I got in 2024, late 24, oh, sorry, late, was it late 23? Anyway, late 23, I think. Got the Extreme ISO. This is an 8 input switcher. It allows me to record all the sources individually as well as simultaneously. The ATEM Mini Extreme line, or the ATEM Mini line of this switcher, it didn't even come out until 2020. Like, we didn't even have this technology. I couldn't really build a proper home studio the way I wanted with the equipment I wanted until 2020. So as evolution has happened with technology, I've tried to figure out the newest and best things that work for me and my situation. A lot of people use software called OBS to do their home streaming and home recording. It's great if you don't have one of these, but I prefer hardware to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Even something as simple as the headphones I use, the BEYERDYNAMIC DT770s. I've had these for 6 years. I love these. They're an open cup. Oh, that was bad. They're an open cup design. I also realize that most of you never actually, I realize I got to put these back on. Most of you never actually see me with my headphones off because I'm always listening. I always like to monitor the audio on these videos just to make sure it's sounding right. Maybe I'm used to more of like a radio broadcast where we always wear headphones, but these have a nice open cup design, allows my ear to have a lot of space, like inside right here. Your ear fits in there quite nicely, so it's not like a clamp on my head. Doesn't get too fatiguing. Sounds excellent. This is the 250 ohm version that I'm using, obviously with the headphone amplifier that's right over here to my left. So it's a great quality. It's a nice fit. It's comfortable. Sounds great. These are not common headphones. I see a lot of people wearing Sonys and Audio-Technicas, but Beyerdynamic makes some amazing headphones. I also use the 990s. Those are an open back design. This is a closed back design, but the 770s are great for recording in a home studio. And last, but certainly not least, this is the toy that I added about a year ago. I want to say April or May. I added the TELESTRATOR, and I'll tell you how I feel about it. I love it. You know, by the way, I realize I should do a segment like this with a chalkboard where I just write fun things on there. Like, thank you. 70,000 subscribers. Why do I underline everything? Here, let me undo that. You also get to realize what my handwriting looks like right now. So my penmanship could be critiqued here on the YouTube channel. I think, you know what I'm realizing? I should do a segment, a chalkboard segment, just like this. But the TELESTRATOR has been so fun, and I've probably overused this, but I bought it. I bought into this system. I just needed a separate old Mac, and actually took my old Mac and made it my TELESTRATOR Mac. So that's all this one is basically doing in the background, but I can draw over anything and everything. And it's really helped me kind of spell out things in videos when I can, you know, actually show you like, hey, this guy right here is a clown, right? Simple as that. Drawing on things has helped me tell the stories so much better. So how do I feel about the TELESTRATOR? I give it a thumbs up. Why did I do that in red? Anyway, I think it's time for me to end this video. So I'll close it out with a couple other things. Strategically here in the home studio, I use soft, low light, right? I'm not trying to make it so bright in here that my eyes get tired, I'm fatigued. It's soft, warm, low lighting in here to not create a bunch of hard shadows or like my forehead doesn't look too overblown or too greasy or anything like that. Sometimes hard lighting will do that. I have also made this a heavy acoustically treated environment. That's what I'm trying to say. If you look at this entire room, which you can't see all of it because that camera is locked down there, but there are acoustic panels throughout this entire small room so that my voice doesn't echo. That's why it sounds proper. Like there's no reverberation in here. This sounds more like a radio or a podcast studio than anything else. Audio matters. I know people focus on, oh, well, how does the channel look? Sometimes there's a great shot and there's a $10,000 camera. My camera is actually kind of old, but the audio in here was the #1 focus. I wanted this channel and all the content I made here to sound good, because if it doesn't sound good, you're going to stop listening to it and you're going to stop watching it. Heavy acoustic treatment for this microphone and this home studio. I have the remote ability at this home studio. Basically everything that you see from the computers and on the screens and the ATEM and what's on the Stream Deck, I can control this from any computer in the world. I can remote into all of this stuff. If I want to start live streaming something, I can put the source on, hit live stream and go. So I don't need to be streaming from elsewhere in the world. I can remote back into this home studio and do it from here when I'm somewhere else. And then a very important factor is the HVAC system, which I've added in here. This room specifically, where it's at, what part of the house it's at, it gets a little bit warmer in the summer months, which are upcoming. And sometimes I need to have the HVAC cool down the room before I come in here and record. Now, the problem is it's loud when it's on, so I can't necessarily have it running while I'm recording or streaming, but I can cool down the room long enough so that I can come in here and use it for, 30, 40 minutes and it stays cool enough. Okay, I've gone way too long, like almost 20 minutes telling you about my home studio, but again, I love this place. I love this space. It means a lot to me. And it also means a lot to me that those of you who have asked about it, wanted to see a little bit more about it, that you've even asked, that you're curious, that you've been complimentary of it. I mean, honestly, that does mean a ton to me. So I appreciate that. Hopefully you appreciated this. That's the end of this video. I'll take all the comments down there. I'll try and get to as many of them as I can, but also thumbs up if you would, since you made it here to the end. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.